Good evening, internet. God, I hope the fucking audio is good for this one. We about to find out. And the lighting, hopefully good. This is a gentle and quick "I told you so" reminder. I was digging through my box of electronics, and I was like, "Yo, can't find my webcam because I wanted to maybe add some Monero Monero screenshots to the video, but I was like, I ain't looking for that. I'll find it somewhere. It's somewhere. But back to the most important topic. Um, Verizon had somewhat of a massive outage, and this is not the first cell phone outage, which is not a good thing. They apparently did not give a reason why. Over 200,000 customers nationwide apparently suffered an outage for hours, like 6 or several hours. And Verizon engineers have fully restored the network. Impacted customers, the cell company in the statement pretty much said it should be normal if you're still having issues. Recommend restarting the device. We know how people rely on Verizon. Apologize. Blah blah blah. You know their shitty apology. 4,000 people reported to be out of service at the height of the outage. Down, etc., etc. This is a reminder that people are, first off, very reliant on their phone. Some might use it for work. Some might use it to just exist in society and maps. Think about, the recent hurricane, which was really fucking bad. So people now are so reliant on their phones that these outages aren't just like, move on. They're pretty gnarly. Like AT&T had a really bad one. I think T-Mobile as well had a relatively short. US Mobile had one because they fucking use the same towers as the major carriers. That's why it's prepaid is you're kind of literally just anything big happens, you could be susceptible to it. This is kind of how I view it, and a gentle reminder on what I think would be good and what I think people should maybe consider doing a plan. Have a plan, have a backup plan. I'm just gonna give kind of a list of apps maybe that you should go consider doing. I do advocate at least go getting your ham radio license or your GSMR radio license, I think. GMRS. Yep, your general mobile radio service. You can get one for the whole family, last 10 years, $35, no tests. Or just get your ham radio license, whatever. But this should be relatively on your list. I understand that it sounds inconvenient, and it does. But in the case of an emergency, I think it would be good to get a couple radios, put one in the car, one in the house, learn how to use it. It shouldn't take that long, and have a functioning backup. And there are a couple apps that I use, and this more goes less into the tech. We're so reliant on these big tech companies. Is what's great about a lot of the free and open source software apps I use is they work offline. They work with limited bandwidth. They don't need, some of them, a good chunk of them don't even need internet access. Like my notes app that I use, no internet access. So that's where I have all my passwords stored if I need to. I I have maps. I have organic maps. Does not need internet access, so I can always drive everywhere and be places and get around. I mean, obviously, it'd be better just to fucking know where you're going in the first place. But if you need maps to function, organic maps works. Unfortunately, if you have to use Google Maps, they have an offline option that could be your next. Kiwix is an offline media. It's the Wikipedia. It's Wikipedia offline. Like that should be on your device regardless. If you have like enough storage, obviously, because a lot of these apps require you to have good amount of storage, and a lot of them require you to make sure that you have like a semi decent phone. Organic Maps isn't obviously 100%. And from my experience using it pretty much 99% of the time, it runs into some oopsie daisies. Meshatstic, get Meshatstic. It's awesome. Reculum Network is another one that's a little bit smaller, but I actually like I like some of the stuff they do a little bit more. Meshatstic, you can get any of these devices. Here it is. It's a great device. Had to grab it, had to think. It's a great device. Antenna, device, battery life good. Just go build. It's like $30 if you get it. If you get it from LilyGo online, the shippings can kind of suck. You have to get two of them. Get two of them. Take them. Set them up. Excellent community. The range is all over the fucking place. People, they're like, I've gotten 150 miles, I got 5 miles, I got 6 miles, I got 20 miles, whatever. The important part is it has a way to set up end-to-end encryption. You get one for yourself, your friend, your partner, whatever. Huge community, awesome product. Reculum Network, same thing. Decent community, a little bit smaller, awesome project. There is Briar. Now I understand that Briar doesn't go that far because it works off Bluetooth. This works off LoRa. Uses antennas. You have a little bit more range. I have tested the range and I'm getting farther and farther. It's a lot of testing. Obviously, your GMRS radio and your ham radio is going to go much farther. But if you're like, I want an inexpensive device, I don't want a license, I want something that's end-to-end encrypted, and again, the range is so subjective. You have to test. You have to understand how antennas work. You have to understand line of sight. Huge fucking community. Awesome product. I like it. I think it's a good alternative. Battery banks, battery backup. Like fucking just get a battery backup to get a dumb phone. Like not a dumb phone, but like get a smartphone with like 120 gigs of storage, download Kiwix to it, put it on a battery bank, put it with your Meshatstic for comms. You have now Wikipedia for information that you might need, and then I have movies on a spare phone that I retired, so that I can watch stuff. Blah blah blah, whatever. However you want to do it, it's your choice, but. Also, good to get a radio that tells you, the weather and the news and picks up local stations. That's good as well. I got one of those fucking like crank radios that gives me some information feeding into me at least, so I know what's going on. And this isn't like a fear mongering and like you have to go out and get into a bunker. This just shows you that when telecommunications are down, people are relatively fucking stupid. They like become inefficient, and it's not really also like their fault. Society requires you to almost have a cell phone today. It's almost I would say it's a need, but people could argue that until the fucking sun explodes. I mean, like my coworkers that had Verizon that had an outage literally couldn't function with their job because they weren't getting reports, they weren't getting emails, they weren't getting their messaging, they weren't getting stuff that needed to be done from the higher ups, because that's just how their system works. So like literally fucking dog water ass moment. And again, this is a subtle reminder that, and why I like a lot of open source apps I use is to have them not rely on the internet, which is great. I mean, like, it's pro and con. I personally think that people should go get their ham radio license and learn how to use it, or their GMRS license, or at worst, get a meshatstic, $28, $30, $30, get some batteries, learn how to use it, and then expand in case that it becomes a time where you don't have access to the internet, or you're just in the middle of nowhere. Even when I go to country, I download the map on Organics Maps. I download it. If I'm in a place where I don't have internet access, or if you have a cell phone provider that doesn't fucking charges you like $50 a fucking day just to go use the internet in a fucking other country, Organic Maps is great. I have at least a way to navigate until, my battery dies. But that's where the battery bank comes in. That's just my take. I think it kind of sucks that we're so reliant on technology, and it's great, it's cool, and it works. But when it doesn't, it's an absolute shit show. And these companies don't give a fuck. They'll just release their shit PR station. They won't explain why. We'll probably find out in like 6 months. They're like, this is why it happened. And we don't care. Like AT&T's network was out for 11 hours. They said it was a network upgrade issue. The network went down again for a few hours in June. In August, like, some people do rely on this. Like, we don't have landlines like we used to. It's not like you can just fire up the landline. So you don't have a choice. Almost. Unless you're lucky and you have a landline, you're not paying like a stupid amount of money for it. But, that's the problem, is we're reliant on this technology. So I'm here to give an alternative perspective, and an alternative, hopefully someone goes out and they're like, you know what, I do want to go build my own meshatstic network. Because the cool thing is their nodes. Like, you can place them in strategic areas where they all connect, and your friends can connect to them. Only one phone at a time can connect to them, and then boom. Or you can get into regular network. It's a little bit more, it's just different. Same concept, different. They have a matrix channel as well. Meshatstic has a huge channel. My advice is go one of those paths. Ham radio license, GSMR radio license, fucking build your own mesh network. That doesn't do voice, doesn't do audio. Meshatstic, I think LoRa is limited. There is ways it can, but it's really text-based, which is, that's its own thing. That's awesome. And then you got Briar, you got other ways, you got, tons of, I have a couple options that I go through, like, what, I could use this, I could use this, I could use this. But this is a reminder to go get your license. Go use radio. Go build a meshatstic network or Reculum. Anyone. Go learn. And until next time.